Hey there, welcome to Be One with me as we journey together to be the best we can. Today, we'll explore the top 8 archetypes guiding your spiritual evolution and recognizing the energies that shape your path toward awakening. This is the story beneath your story. You know, every soul walks a path filled with patterns, stories that repeat, lessons that echo, energies that seem to circle back until we finally see their purpose. These are archetypes, the timeless forces within us that guide how we think, act, love, and evolve. They're not fixed identities or personality types. They're energies that rise when the soul needs to learn something specific. Sometimes you're the warrior, standing firm in truth. Other times, you're the healer, mending your wounds by tending to others. Other times, the seeker awakens in you, hungry for wisdom and meaning. The more we learn to recognize which archetype is leading us in the moment, the more conscious we become of our own spiritual unfolding. Archetypes aren't outside of us. They live within our energy fields, our choices, our language, and even our dreams. When you begin to understand them, you stop seeing life as random and start seeing it as designed. The design is not about destiny, it's about development. Every archetype invites you to evolve from shadow into light, from reaction into wisdom. So, let's explore 8 of these archetypes, not as labels, but as mirrors. As you move through them, ask, which of these energies is alive in me right now? Which one am I being asked to grow through? 1. The seeker is that part of you that just refuses to settle. It's the spark that asks, is this all there is? And then, begins the search for more. The seeker lives in that tension between comfort and curiosity, constantly chasing truth beyond appearances. This archetype really awakens when life feels just too small, when something inside quietly whispers, there's more to who I am. When balanced, the seeker is open, humble, and honestly guided by wonder. But when out of balance, it becomes restless, always looking out there for what can only, be found within. So, here's a question. What am I currently seeking? And am I searching outward when the answer may already be inside me? And here's a practice to try. Sit in meditation for 5 minutes and just silently repeat, I am here. Notice what arises when there's no goal, just presence. 2. The warrior is your strength in motion, the one who acts on truth even when it's hard. This archetype shows up when life calls for courage, boundaries, or persistence. But a conscious warrior isn't about domination. It's about alignment. It fights for love, not against life. When the warrior is wounded, it becomes defensive or controlling. When awakened, it becomes disciplined and devoted to higher service. The real battle is always internal, between fear and faith. Question: where am I being called to take a stand? Not out of anger, but out of love. Practice. Each morning, set one small boundary that supports your peace, a habit, a time, or a truth you'll no longer compromise. 3. The healer archetype. It really arises from wounds that just refused to break you. Every scar becomes medicine. Not because pain disappears, but because it transforms into empathy. The healer learns to, transmute personal suffering into compassion for others. But, honestly, this energy has a trap. The urge to fix everyone else before tending to yourself. True healing begins with self-forgiveness and balance. When you care for yourself as deeply as you care for others, your healing power multiplies. Question: what part of me am I still trying to heal by saving someone else? Practice. Write a letter to yourself from your higher self, the part of you that already sees your wholeness. Read it aloud each morning for a week. 4. The lover archetype reminds us that life is, a sacred relationship. To others, to nature, to ourselves, and even to the divine. This energy really opens the heart, teaching us that love isn't a transaction, but instead a vibration. The lover's true gift is presence, being fully available to the beauty that's right in front of you. In shadow, the lover can become attached, dependent, or even addicted to external affection. But in light, it becomes radiant, giving love freely simply because it is love. Here's a question. Do I love to connect, or do I connect to be loved? And here's a practice. Spend one day offering love silently, through smiles, kind thoughts, or simple acts, expecting nothing in return. Just notice how it expands your energy. So, the sage emerges when we start seeing through illusion. It's the archetype that finds peace in truth rather than comfort in certainty. The sage seeks understanding, but not through intellect alone, through stillness, observation, and patience. The danger of the sage is, honestly, detachment, using intellect to avoid emotion. But when balanced, wisdom and compassion merge, creating a grounded awareness that guides others without needing to be right. Here's a question to consider. Do I seek truth to grow or to feel superior? And here's a practice. Take a single ordinary experience, like, say, drinking tea or washing dishes, and treat it as sacred. Ask yourself, what is life teaching me here? The creator archetype is, the artist, innovator, and manifester within you. It's the energy that says, let's build something that didn't exist before. And honestly, this isn't just about art. It's about consciously creating your reality, your relationships, and your inner world. In shadow, the creator fears failure or perfectionism. But in light, it creates for the joy of creation itself, detached from the outcome, just trusting in the divine flow. When you're creating, you're actually collaborating with the universe. Here's a question for you. Where am I withholding my creativity out of fear of judgment or failure? And for your practice, try doing one creative act today with no goal. Maybe paint, write, dance, or sing, purely for the sake of expression. 7. The mystic sees the unseen and feels the infinite. This archetype awakens when you begin trusting intuition over intellect, when you start sensing that life is orchestrated by something greater. Mystics don't need all the answers. They live in sacred mystery. The shadow of the mystic is escapism, floating away from the physical world. But the true mystic anchors spiritual awareness into daily life. It's about being both human and divine, both grounded and infinite. Question: where am I resisting the unknown instead of surrendering to its wisdom? Practice. During meditation, place your hand on your heart and repeat, "I trust the mystery that guides me." Feel your breath as a bridge between worlds. 8. The teacher is the archetype of embodiment, when wisdom becomes service. You've walked through darkness, found your lessons, and now you share the light. Teaching doesn't mean preaching. It means living your truth so fully that it inspires others to rise. The shadow teacher needs validation. The awakened teacher gives without needing to be seen, knowing that truth teaches through energy more than words. Every act of authenticity becomes a lesson in love. So, here's a question for you. What wisdom from my journey am I being called to share? And am I brave enough to offer it humbly? And here's a little practice for you. Share one insight or story from your own growth with someone who might need it, not to teach, but to connect. Archetypes are, honestly, the languages of the soul, those ancient patterns through which consciousness evolves. You might recognize yourself in several of them, or maybe you move fluidly between all 8. That's totally natural. Spiritual growth is cyclical, not linear. The seeker becomes the sage. The healer becomes the teacher. The mystic becomes the lover, all woven together in the fabric of your becoming. The key is awareness. When you can name which energy is active in you, when you can say, this is my warrior rising, or my healer is tired right now, you move from reaction to intention. You begin to live with soul-level consciousness instead of, ego-level identity. The invitation is simple. Honor the archetype that's alive in you today. Learn from it, work with it, and let it evolve. Because when you embrace these energies consciously, you stop chasing who you think you should be and start embodying who you already are. Hey, subscribe to this channel. More is coming from the heart for the soul. And remember, a smile can make someone's day. The right words may change their life. Thank you. I love you. Be you. Be one with me.